What's up? Welcome to the Tabletop Nights podcast. My name is Victor. I am joined by Greg and Josh over there to my left. Obviously, it's a little bit different than normal due to people being in self-isolation and all that. But Josh, it's your first podcast, so probably
it is my first podcast.
Yeah, we would have liked to have you in different circumstances, but we are doing what we can. Tabletop Nights, we will weather the storm.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
By the way, Victor, I love what you've done with the place.
Thanks.
It looks a little like my house.
Yeah, I had to do 3 sets set up. It was crazy.
Awesome.
So obviously we're live streaming this as well, but it'll also be on YouTube. So if you do want to see us live, follow us on all the socials. Being Australian though, the times are a little bit skewed for American and European people.
But if we get enough love, we might do one on their prime time. So
that's true. That's true.
Okay as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this week we'll be talking about a little bit of Frosthaven, what we've been playing, and how the coronavirus is maybe impacting our board game lives and delays and stuff like that. But I think let's get straight into something that Josh has no clue what we'll be talking about is Frosthaven. And I know you backed it, Greg, to its full capacity.
Well, of course, TTK backed it, but yeah, I'm getting the boxes.
Yeah.
So far, it's got 32,500 backers. This is day one. And 7.8 million Australian dollars pledged of a total of 800,000 they were trying to get. So that's about 4 million US in no time flat.
30 days, 30 days left, I think, as well. So.
Yeah, so now it's showing as day two. Yeah. Obviously, it's based on Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time, I'd say. So, but again, Isaac Childress has come up with another, I'm sure it's going to be a massive bundle of stuff. I went for the, let me see, what was my pledge? I think mine was like 280 ridiculous US dollars or something like that. So that includes one of those, broken token inserts now that they've got for the Gloomhaven one. Heaps of all the content and extras and bizzos, but it's a lot of money considering I've probably played 4 scenarios out of Gloomhaven.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But that was one of the draws of Gloomhaven was it was a fair price for so much content. That's why the game really took off. Imagine if it was double the price. It probably still would have been really popular, but it just wouldn't have been as accessible, not as big. Do you think that this will be the biggest Kickstarter to date?
Yes.
Okay.
Given that Gloomhaven is the number one game on Board Game Geek and has been for probably at least 12 months now, it has to be.
I wonder what the current one is, what the current champion is.
Could possibly still be Gloomhaven. I don't know. We should have researched that before we start the podcast.
on Kickstarter, isn't the highest amount of money made from a Kickstarter Kingdom Death Monster?
It could be.
I think they made something like 15 million.
Damn, that's insane.
Because
that's also such a
expensive game.
But it's also a niche game, right? But it really captured the emotion, and it's like you can't get it. Like you have to sell your soul to try and find a copy now.
That's true. I don't have those figures in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's approximately right. I think it was about 15 million they raised US dollars. But I could be wrong. I'm wrong often. This wouldn't be the first time.
So there we are. So this will be your first and last podcast. Is that what you're saying, mate?
We'll see.
Well, what are we looking at here, Victor?
Yes, I'm actually showing the trailer, which is something we can do with Zoom, one of the best apps.
I saw my little tinker guy there, but we don't get. Do we get the sound from that? I don't know.
No, I've muted it so it doesn't interrupt us. But I can put the sound on if you like.
No, that's.
Everyone wants to hear us chat, mate. Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell it's the same art work and style and contents, etc.
For sure.
I think the one you can now the Kickstarter I got has all the removable stickers from the boards and things like that, so you can replay everything if you wish to.
That's very
that's
important because so with my Gloomhaven experience, I was playing it by myself for like 6 months and probably did about 40 scenarios. I never finished it because it's hard to pack away and bring out every time you want to play for an hour. You got to have like a real dedicated space for it. And when we record videos, I've got to make sure that space is always available. And then I started to play it again for the channel, and I really want to play it again before Frosthaven comes out. So I'm going to need to buy a second replaceable sticker pack, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, if you think about the last Cephalofair game that had prominence was Founders of Gloomhaven, which was obviously nothing like Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
It had 10,000 backers and $500,000 in pledges. So, and obviously that doesn't seem to have found favour with many players out there, to be honest. So Frosthaven is a great follow-up for Isaac to come out with.
This is one of the bits I'm most excited about is the actual building stuff, building up the city, upgrading the already existing buildings, using resources to do that. So you're gathering these resources here.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's exactly like Catan. So if you roll a 7, you get a bunch of wood. Nah.
Exactly like Catan.
Roll a 6.
Oh, hang on. I've just got to go and cancel my pledge.
So I think that's really cool. They're obviously trying to make it even more immersive. And I think the base board game is $100 US. That's awesome. That is great value. That's if you just get the base game.
Yeah, well, that's what Gloomhaven was like. I mean, when you think about it, it hit Australia for about roughly 200 Aussie bucks, but there's years of content in there.
I did read that you can use the original characters from Gloomhaven in Frosthaven as well. I'm pretty sure.
I can get my Craig Hart out, can I?
Yeah, I think so. Or any of the characters in there, really. Like if there's one that you were never able to unlock when you played it, because with Gloomhaven, you start off with 6 characters, and there's like 15 or something in there. The only way you can play with the other characters is if you unlock them by doing certain goals.
Yep.
And in the playthrough, you probably won't unlock more than like 3 or 4 of them, I'd say. I unlocked like 2 in my 40 scenarios. So that's really cool if you want to go back there. Another really cool thing is there's 2 seasons now in the story. Apparently you start off in summer and then you go into winter, which...
It's chilly.
Yeah, especially in the north, which is it's the exact same thing as Game of Thrones. They're in the north or in the cold area. Someone's Facebooked me.
I'm not sure there's any like new mechanics. It's essentially a reskin of the same game with obviously new content, new scenarios, new road things that happen, all that sort of stuff. So if you know Gloomhaven, you should be able to step pretty easily straight into this one.
Now, were they meant to be also launching a different type of Gloomhaven game, a more casual version? I think they announced before Gloomhaven, before they announced Frosthaven. It was one that was more sort of user friendly. You can jump straight in and play, as opposed to like Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, where you got to do all the setup and all the rules and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I'm not across that one.
Yeah, I thought I've spoken about it before, but I must have been tripping.
That would have been the first time as well for that.
Tripping through the woods on the way to Frosthaven.
No, I think you're right there, Victor. I think there was an announcement about, and it had a specific name to it. For some reason, I picture like a tiger on the promotional content of it.
I'm on the subreddit now. I'd probably be fast if I just Google the damn thing. I just assumed it'd be in the top.
It had like another name. It wasn't just Gloomhaven. I think they called it something specific. Clearly I haven't researched any of this, but I just remember watching someone on YouTube speaking about it.
Yeah, because they announced it like August last year, roughly, off the top of my head. I need to find the name of it. But I'm excited for Frosthaven. I'm pumped, but this is sort of leads into our next topic. I am in a situation where I'm not making as much money because of coronavirus. My hours have been reduced almost completely. And so is my income. So all the income I'll be getting for the next month or so will be gone straight into bills and stuff. I'm sort of wondering if they had delayed it a month or so, would they make more money? Because there's going to be a lot of people that are like me and only doing the $1 pledge, hoping that by the time the thing backs that they have the money to back the full pledge. And there's like Kickstarter hasn't slowed down. I don't think there's been any delays, but I haven't been able to back any new campaigns. I mean, delays at new campaigns. I haven't been able to back any, but I feel like they should have delayed it for a month or two.
It's a good question, though. I mean, but you think obviously the fans are there because they're spending up big now. They're probably spending all their toilet paper and hand sanitizer money.
Yeah, well,
and food money that the kids could have had on Gloomhaven, or Frosthaven. I just wonder what the next Haven will be. Will it be like Dandenong Haven or
Dandenong Haven?
I'm trying to think of something bogany for America.
Aussie Haven.
Yeah.
Well, the pledge level you've pledged at, Greg, that's after like shipping costs. That's going to come to about $500 Australian, which is pretty intense.
So Donna can't hear me.
Donna's not here,
so we're okay.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Actually,
no, but I fully expect TTK to pick up the tab and share that cost around. So
it depends.
Fair enough.
Depends is keeping it. I mean, you
might
can
have
just
to take out a loan.
That's true, but you can just have all the revenue from the videos we make for all those.
All that revenue,
hundreds of thousands of views we'll get.
Josh hasn't seen that yet.
I actually found the name of the other one. You're pretty much on the head there. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. It's called 2020. It's meant to be a more simple version. So it's a standalone game that takes place before the events of Gloomhaven. The game includes 4 new characters. Blah, blah, blah. The game includes 16 monster types. So it is, I think it is a simpler version of the game.
Streamlined version of the game.
So that way you can just pick it up and start playing the Gloomhaven lore, I guess, but with a simpler rule set. Because Gloomhaven's a pretty intense system of rules.
It's intense, but I found it was one of the best rule books to actually go through and get in and start playing. And you go, you know what? It doesn't feel complex once you've played a couple of rounds, right? It evolves as you go.
But, so I think we've done about 10, 15 podcasts, somewhere in there. We've probably brought up Gloomhaven about 6 of those. Gloomhaven was the first big game that I ever really played in terms of rulebook thickness. But it is one of those games where you just pick up the rule. You don't even read the rulebook. You just start and you'll learn the game that way. Even after 40 scenarios, you'll still be picking up the rulebook just to consult things. It'd be almost impossible to learn that game completely.
I still haven't played it. I mean, I'm fairly new to board gaming in general, but I've only really delved heavily into the hobby probably the last 18, 20 months. And it's like one game where I remember when I was just getting into the hobby, it was like that #1 game on Board Game Geek that I was like, oh, that would be cool. And then I looked at the price, I was like, wow, that is expensive for a board game. But then you read into how much content there actually is into the game. It's probably cheap for how much there actually is in the box. So
it sort of reminds me of Arena, actually, in terms of content-wise and depth and lore. Remember when we were playing, Josh, you were having a look through the lore book and how in depth it was? It's similar to that, but I think Arena is, 1, much more difficult to come across, and 2, would have been much more expensive, right? For the same amount of content.
Yeah, for the same amount of content. I mean, there clearly wouldn't be as much content in Arena as Gloomhaven. No. I think I'd be right in saying, but the backstory and the lore behind it, clearly people have put a lot of time and effort into that part of the game. Although it is just a good game to pick up and play once you learn the rules, if someone wanted to really delve into that world, there's a lot there for them, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm excited for Frosthaven. I can't wait. But I do want to play Gloomhaven again. So if we get a spare 400 hours, we can give it a go. That's for sure.
Well, just got Frosthaven open here, and the backers are literally ticking over. Like
yeah, I was watching it before.
It's wild.
It's insane.
It's funny.
All right.
You guys backed anything else recently?
I have actually.
Well, Victor hasn't. He's been buying food, but that's okay.
Toilet paper.
Fair enough. I have. And Beck, if you're watching this, apologies because I haven't filled you in on this one. But I actually backed the Chronicles of Crime Millennium Series Kickstarter that just finished a few days ago, which I'm pretty excited about. I really like Chronicles of Crime. I find it a really cool game to jump into to see how developers can use technology really well in a board game.
For sure.
Obviously, it's not the only one that does it. Mansions of Madness Second Edition do it really well as well, and Lord of the Rings Journey to Middle Earth that does it as well,
which I'm playing right now, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. They obviously do it really well, but Chronicles of Crime is the first game I picked up, and I saw how well it did it, and from that point, I've been like, well, this is really cool.
Did you play all the scenarios in Chronicles of Crime, or?
I haven't got through all of them. I actually have the Noir expansion as well, but I haven't even opened the box and played through any of them yet.
I just bought that expansion about a week ago. I'm waiting for it, and I got the VR.
I didn't get the VR goggles the first time I bought the game. I kind of skipped that, but I don't know. I think it's quite cool without it, just being able to turn your phone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't
look around
much.
the room, but
it's definitely one of the best integrations of an app with a board game out there. For sure.
Yeah.
Just the use of the QR codes and you've only got so many hours in the day to actually do everything. So you've got to make some tough decisions, and you might miss vital clues or you might figure it out. So it's
if you've backed that, I'll definitely want that on the channel for sure. Not all of them, maybe just one, so you can still play with the friends and family and whatnot. You don't want to be double solving crimes. But I did find that. So I played with my wife, and we played. There's the first scenario is 3 missions, and I know we did the first 2, but when I played again, I still had the same app. I hadn't uninstalled it, but the progress wasn't there. So I wasn't sure what happened last or anything like that. So that was a bit disappointing. So we actually just moved on to another scenario as well.
I think that was something you did wrong, Victor.
Yeah, it could have been, or could have just updated wrong or something like that because it just wasn't there. But also, if you actually look at the core scenarios, I think there's only like 3 or something, and then you've actually got to start paying like $8 per scenario.
Yeah, I think when you just pick up the base game with no other content, I think there are only about 4. I think there's 4 or 5 scenarios that you can play right out of the gate that are already on the app.
That's like 4 hours though of like content, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, depending on how quickly you work through each case, but I suppose it's just how well it does it. I think I just enjoyed playing the game. I mean, people pay $70 for 5 hours of entertainment all the time when you go to sporting matches and things like that. So, and you know what? It's something that I've been able to show other people as well. So I actually don't have the game in my house at the moment because I've lent it to a few friends who are playing through it themselves whilst they're self-isolating. So it's something that I've passed on to other people to play through, and they've really enjoyed it as well. So I think it's worth it. As I said, I haven't played the Noir expansion, but I heard that's really good as well. And I really like the fact that yes, it costs you about 200 Australian once if you pay one of the all-in kind of pledges for this game, but you get 3, I suppose, boxes for that. You get the 1400, the 1900, and the 2400 games. And from what I've read, it seems to follow like the storyline of a particular family from generation to generation, which I thought was really cool. I think the addition of like having a pet, and when you get to the 2400 box, there's like some sort of cyber raven or something that flies around investigating things for you. I think that's very cool. I like the look of the game. I've always liked how they've implemented the technology into the game. The fact that you can have 30 player cards, but all of them can be something different from scenario to scenario. That's true.
Yeah, then you'll have one of the dudes from the previous scenario be like, "I recognize you. You're the murderer from last time."
But this time he's like just like some
random
school teacher.
Dude. Yeah.
It's like I really like how they do that, and the fact that they do have an app there which they can upload new scenarios to, and people can go and pay $5 or $8 or whatever for a new scenario. I think that's really cool as well. It saves you from buying a new game every time, I suppose. But I'm really looking forward to this one. I just really like Chronicles of Crime in general, and was happy to pledge basically the all in on that one.
We'll definitely play that when you receive it. Have you backed anything, Greg? I know you can't miss out. Come on, surely.
Recently, Lawyer Up, a little 2-player card game.
Cool.
Where sort of one plays the defense and one plays the prosecution. That looks quite good.
Yeah, agreed.
I can't wait to object in that. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, I object. Starlight, which was another one. It's like a 1 to 4 player space 4X type game.
Yeah.
That successfully that's got 9 days to go, but they're 700,000 over their 50,000 goal, 5,000 backers.
Wow.
So that's not a bad one.
Wow.
And everything else so far has been so PAX Premier. There's a reprint of that, which just looked beautiful. Like, it was really gorgeous. It's kind of this. I'm trying to think. I think it's Afghani alliances. So it's sort of set in a really old and I guess descriptive period. It's all that beautiful text and things like that, and the old maps. That looks really nice. Here to Slay, which of course we've already talked about, I think, on the last one.
Yeah.
And the other big one, I think, was obviously Return to Dark Tower, which I'm hanging out for.
Have you been receiving many emails about delays or anything due to COVID-19? Or
Yeah, look, I get emails from everyone, and they're all saying there's been some impact. But given that 90% of the games come out of China, they're already saying that a lot of their factories are back up and running.
Yeah.
So they're sort of 90% back to where they were. But, it's basically added a 3-month delay onto everything, which is absolutely fine under the circumstances. You wouldn't want anyone to be risking their health for a stupid board game for us. So
no, for sure.
But it hasn't been all, no, we've gone under, we're going to fail. They've all said, no, we've taken a bit of a blip. We're working from home, which makes it harder. One of the emails I got today was talking about when they're trying to create their little minis. Normally it's hands-on and everyone can look at it, but, they've got to do everything virtually. And if something's it looks really good in your hand, but when they get it to the designers, they go, well, hang on, that makes it only 0.5 millimeter thick. That's going to snap off as soon, so all those sorts of little things that they can't do in the one office, it's taking them a little bit longer each time.
In general, board games. So at the moment in Australia, we're currently, you can only be with one other person other than yourself out in public. I can't go over to Greg's house and just me and him play a board game. It's got to be a reason that you're actually visiting somebody. But board games in general, unfortunately, is a lot of sharing pieces. So on our end, we're lucky that we do all have a computer that we can play Tabletop Simulator, which we have been doing, which is awesome. Awesome. I have played it before, but that app is scary good. Very, very creative for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a few others out there that people have thrown some suggestions at us. So it's just great to get online and have a game, and hopefully people still want to watch that kind of stuff.
So we played Blood Rage the other day. Greg, you showed me how to play that. And I know he also showed you, Josh, as well.
Yeah.
That's a really awesome game. It's very easy to learn, hard to master.
Well said. You get... The thing is about that game is you're always getting frustrated by Loki or someone else, right? You go into a battle and you don't really know what's going to happen. So it's trying to work out your mitigation strategies every time you do something.
It's almost impossible to foresee what the opponent's doing. It's unless you know you remember what their objective card is. But in a 2-player game, it's a little bit easy because you do pass the cards back and forth. But in a 3 or 4-player game, you don't know who has that objective card. That would be so difficult to just know what's going on. But I'm excited to play that in a 3 or 4-player game for YouTube and a live stream as well, obviously. But we also played Dice Throne yesterday. I was showing Claire and Josh how to play. It was actually the best game of Dice Throne I've ever had.
Oh, really? So you won?
But only with the silver tongue did I win. I was really convincing people. So at the end, I had 1 health. Josh had 30, and Claire had about 16, I think. And they were going for me, as the master of dice. So no. As the person that's played it the most, they were going for me a little bit. I ended up winning
on one health.
Yeah.
Well, we just had the Hurton Albertan saying that Blood Rage is fantastic and he loves Loki. Now I tend to play the Loki strategy as well because it pisses everyone else off. That's what I love about it.
When we played, we did a mixture of both. So that was Claire actually ended up taking out Josh in one turn, all 30 of his health, because she was using the barbarian. The barbarian has the ability to stun. So she rolled an ultimate and stunned Josh and was able to do a second attack, which killed him. But then when it came around to Claire, to my turn, all I did was basically pass in a nutshell. Didn't do anything. And it was Claire's turn again. She died by my poison because I was the shadow thief. So it was fun. We definitely want to do either a 3 or a 4 player match. Maybe if we do 4 player, we can do teams because I've never done teams before. So that's something you guys will see on the channel as well, and we'll play with a few people that don't.
Well, look, we've got Dice Z81 who says, hi, or greets Greg. I hope I remember him from Essen or her. I'm not sure who you are. How did we meet there, Dice Z81?
Dice Z.
Let him know. He'll be surprised. I won't spoil it. I know.
And a big woohoo for Dice Throne, so...
Yeah. So we'll be playing Dice Throne on the channel. The new ninja characters on Tabletop Simulator. I'm not sure if he's fully figured out or if he's been balanced completely. But we'll play with not just the Tabletop Knights. We might bring a few people in, which is one of the best things about Tabletop Simulator is anyone can really jump in and play with us. Awesome community. What else?
Oh yes, it's from the Dice Throne booth. So there you go. I don't remember people's face tags and things like that from when I meet them, but that was good. Though it was a good bunch of people over there. There's people hanging over that booth at Essen. Well, they were everywhere.
We're meant to be doing it again at PAX Australia this year. Who knows what'll happen with that?
And
when's that
new big thing coming out for Dice Throne?
I don't know. I actually have not been keeping up with that.
What's it called again?
Dice Throne Adventure and Season 1 re-rolled. I am the type of guy that'll watch, if a new movie comes out and I know I'm going to see it, I won't even view one trailer. I won't look at when it's releasing. I'll just keep under the radar, and I always enjoy it way more if I don't get too hyped about it.
Okay.
So I do that with board games too, to be honest.
Well, let's just hope the PAX even goes ahead this year.
I have a feeling it will. I think by then it'll be, the world's forever changed. People are, we should just eliminate handshakes. Disgusting, really, and we should just take.
We should go back to hugging and kissing. Yeah.
No, I'm happy. Honestly, happy to take on the bow. When I was in Japan a few years ago, and everyone was bowing to me, it's so good. You don't have to worry about strength of handshake and aim and all that. It's just
aim. Yeah, but they have to bow to the huge white guy. That tends to be what happens.
Very polite.
They're so respectful, very polite. They are.
But they bow to each other as well.
Oh no, of course. But I think they go the extra mile for foreigners. They actually go out of their way to be super polite.
They do. In one of our hotels, there was a restaurant on the top floor, and so we didn't want to leave, so we went up there, and we ate there. It's pretty weird food. We didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest. But as we were leaving, he walked us to the elevator, which was the entrance to the restaurant, and he pressed the button and he got out of the elevator, and then he did a bow, and he waited for the doors to close before he unbowed. It was really he was bowed for at least 10 seconds just waiting for the elevator doors to close. I've never been showed that much respect in my life.
Apart from us, we respect you.
True. So Easter's coming up very soon.
Yeah, next week, is it?
It is.
Let's play a Easter themed board game for Easter. I think let's finally do it. We're in a position.
Do we have one?
Bunny Kingdom has to be on Tabletop Simulator.
Bunny Kingdom.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. What about as you win each little battle, we can pop a little Cadbury Easter egg or something like that?
That's true. Or we can play Wingspan.
Put one in each little tower. Hey?
We can play Wingspan and use Cadbury eggs instead.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out. Does anyone know how to play that game by any chance?
I know how to. Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. So
of course, Greg does.
That's one of our best videos. The solo rules for Wingspan.
No, yeah, but do you know how to play Bunny Kingdom?
Oh, that I do.
Okay. We've been saying it for like 6 months that we're gonna start doing themed videos that we've missed. Christmas, we missed Valentine's Day, Australia Day, we miss everything. So,
Well, you know what day it is today in Australia?
what?
Well, it's April Fool's Day today.
Yeah, but it's past 12 o'clock, so it's
Still April Fool's Day. And in the US, it's like they're just coming up to April Fool's Day, you see. So
yeah. I did try to convince Daisy something before. I was like, Tom Hanks died, and she looked and he didn't.
Oh, don't knock the Hankser. Come on.
I love Tom Hanks. Yeah, I'm touching wood down here. I love Tom Hanks. I mean, he has done some of the best movies. Castaway, you kidding me? Forrest Gump.
Yeah, big.
Amazing. Big. Absolutely.
Splash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
The Polar
cool.
Express. Oh, sorry.
How long have we been going for? Do you know?
About a
You
week.
just
I
yap
think.
away.
I'm happy to just talk about what we've been playing lately. As other than Dice Throne and Blood Rage, I have actually been replaying Journeys in Middle Earth solo because I got that for Christmas. Thanks, Greg. He helped my wife with that one. That's a really awesome game. They recently release an expansion, and because it's an app-driven game, all you have to do is buy it on the app. You don't actually have to buy any extra pieces or anything. So I've been considering doing like a solo playthrough of the expansion. Not that our first video got any views or anything. But then I did play Chronicles of Crime the other day with Daisy, and we got 105 out of 100 somehow. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
That's pretty good.
yeah, I don't know how that works, but
That's impossible.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it was really fun. I'm glad you mentioned it because I probably would have forgotten that I played. I'm glad you mentioned it and that you are backing it because that's something that I do love. Chronicles of Crime. It's just
I have a
play it-
question
Yeah, go.
for you. Sorry, I cut you off
No,
there.
you're all right.
But with Chronicles of Crime, when you play with another person, do you find there's enough for both of you to do?
So the first time I played with Daisy was very like whoever's in control of the phone basically is driving it. So the first time I played, I was just like, scan this. I'd waste 5 minutes doing this, and like, you know, I wouldn't even consult with her. I'd just start scanning things. So I made sure this time to give it to her, but she would still ask me before every move, like, what should we do now? To be like, you're the lead detective. you decide. And she got us to 105 out of 100. So good on her.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
it is
tough
a massive
one.
discussion type game, really. And I don't know. Do you find that you spot things on the phone that she hasn't, or and vice versa?
Yeah, there may be things like, make sure you give this to the forensic person. This one clue. That's the one drawback is they don't really explain to you what these things do, and it could be as simple as you could miss something as simple as going to the criminology guy and not asking him about a specific person, and you miss out on an answer that you needed.
I suppose what I meant though was like, you know, when you're actually looking at a crime scene.
Yeah.
Like, did she go, oh, hang on, there's a knife there, and you hadn't seen? Like, were you watching it separately or casting it to a?
So you have two options, obviously. You can view it and then just tell the person what to take out of the deck. But we always viewed it twice, and there were some things that we missed the other way. So in one, there was a camera, and that was like the biggest clue, actually. But she just didn't look up on the roof.
Because I think you can actually cast it to your TV or something if you want. I think there's an option to do that.
That'd be cool. I did not.
So
do that.
one person can actually spin around, and other people can watch it on the big screen.
That'd be cool.
That's cool.
I do wish there was more crime scenes in that game. One of the DLCs that I really recommend is the one me and Caleb played on the channel. The one it is like a famous chef is found dead or something. That was really good. But you can always. It's a very easy game to figure out what it is, like what's happening. So in the one I was playing, the lady was pretending to be murdered, and I knew that halfway through, like even before, I was like, oh, she's pretending that that's the serial killer. You actually you can actually figure that out really early on, but it's about how can I answer that question when they ask it to me at the end of the game with clues. So even if you know it, you still have to find the clue, which is actually a good thing because in order to, you have to always find evidence. So it's actually pretty smart, but you can always figure it out pretty early. Like, I've got a hunch.
Yeah, and sometimes like there's an overall question you're trying to solve. So who killed this person? But then they're asking the question at the end of the game, and it's like, who is this person's boyfriend? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't really think about it that way.
Which can be can be frustrating, to be honest.
Yeah. I did find though, when I played with Beck, we were a lot better. But when I played by myself, I thought I was doing fine, and then it got to the end, and I'm like, I don't actually know what the answer to this is. So she was like, oh, why don't we ask this person about this thing? And I'm like, yeah, I probably didn't think about that. So I feel like it's a game that you'll do better at if you have a couple of people, but I also feel like it's a game where it's kind of one of those things, if you have more than one person, you have to give them a specific role. It's almost like, oh, I'll allocate you these two characters so you can play the scientist and the criminologist, and I'll play the other two. Yeah. And then whenever you think that person needs to be asked a question, you hand it to them.
All right.
I think
that's not bad.
This item can be asked to the criminologist, so I'll give it to Beck and she can do that part of it. So, I found that we were better at it when we played together, but like we solved the crime, we got 100%. But then I played myself and I thought, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. And then it got to the end and I just failed like half the questions.
I do like that, splitting it up. I think you could even do that with districts, like in this district, you're lead, and in this
you're
district,
in charge,
I'm the lead. Yeah. I think that's actually really smart.
When Donna and I played it, you kept second guessing yourselves. You go, like we made that first scenario much harder than it actually was, because we start going, oh no, that's too easy, that's too obvious. There's some connection between this guy and that woman over there, and you almost overdo it, so which sends you then down the wrong path. I just found that was a bit frustrating, because I thought it was a bit deeper than it was. But then once you pull back, you go, okay, it's not that complex.
Yeah, what's the most obvious solution here?
Yeah, you get into the flow of it.
Which is where Beck was really good, and where I was really bad as well.
What's that detective game you originally suggested that I play with Daisy? Is that more in depth?
Yeah, it's definitely more in depth. There's a fair bit of reading to do, but basically it's called Detective, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep.
And you actually log into a website, and it acts as the Antares crime computer. So everything you get, you type into there, and you create your own links, and you develop the story as you go. And it's all about, it goes back to World War II, I think, and this because it's a Polish-made game, I'm pretty sure, and there's connections to this watch that was stolen and where's it ended up, and all these sorts of clues. It's a very rich experience, but you'd absolutely have to have the right people to play that, because others would go, I'm bored, I don't want to be involved in this. So if you want to do it by yourself, or someone else who's really dedicated and wants to have a good chat about it, fantastic game. Amazing.
I own that as well, and I actually I've owned it for probably a year. It was one of the games that, when I was looking at Chronicles of Crime versus Detective, everyone had their opinions, and whenever you watch like a top 10 list from the year, someone either had Chronicles of Crime or Detective, and then some of them just bundled it up into one. They're like, these are two very good games, but they do it differently. They use technology differently. Game I haven't been able to get to the table at all for that very reason, Greg, because I don't know who to pull it out with, and I kind of feel like Detective especially is one that you kind of want more than one person, because it is a game you can give roles. Like a person inputs everything into the computer, and this person's reading out the cards, and it seems really cool. And there's 5 different scenarios out of the box, but I just don't want to get it to the table. But it's one that I really want to get to the table with the right
It's one
group.
That, while we're in isolation, you could actually sit even down by yourself and just go through that first case. But it is a long continuing story, so but it's worthwhile. I played the first one on my own.
Okay.
Board games are always more fun with a second person, but there are, in saying that, like I am loving playing Journeys in Middle Earth by myself. There's that game is very difficult, very, very difficult. And there is an explorers mode they've added. So if you want to dumb it down, you can make it a bit easier so you can explore more. Because there's a lot of things that you don't actually get to do in that game, because every time it's different. So there might be... I played the first scenario like 4 times now. And every time it's a different... There's different little mini objectives in the game. I think when we played, Greg, there was like a tree that we could have gone to, a magical tree, but
Climb up, yeah.
yeah, or something else where we need to get something to go to that tree first, and something would have happened, but we ran out of time, so we had to smash through the main objective, and we missed out completely. But yeah, I've isolation. I've been just bored. Really,
That's what we're going to do. More online stuff is what we're going to do.
This is nice. I like being able to play on Tabletop Simulator, and it's definitely going to transfer into our channel even after everything's back to normal. If it ever does, we definitely do Tabletop Simulator more often, and we might even move the podcast to this format if it's more popular, because the ones when we're in person are great, but this does give us a chance to sort of do it any night we want and not have to organize our families and people around us. So definitely let us know.
I am looking at the live, and it does seem to be hanging a little bit, so I'm not sure what's
could just be my internet not coping.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything.
So sorry about anyone out there listening that might be getting some chop on.
It'll be perfect for the YouTubers, so make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe.
Watch it later.
Yeah.
And I don't want to harp on about Chronicles of Crime too much, but shout out to Lucky Duck Games. They donated $10,000 of their recent campaign to the World Health Organization to hopefully try and find a cure or some treatment to the obviously the COVID-19 that we're going through at the moment.
Good on you, Lucky Duck.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's very cool.
Although they did not give us any free copies of Chronicles of Crime, the new Kickstarter. When I downloaded I downloaded 3 of their expansions, the extra missions, and then they automatically got refunded to my account, but I still had access to them. So I actually emailed them saying, hey, it's automatically refunding them. And they said, yeah, they got in touch with the tech team, and it's been happening for like months. So they missed out on like heaps of revenue. And I saved that, not even...
No, hang on. They said, yeah, it's been happening. They didn't say, thanks, Victor, for letting us know.
Yeah, well, they did say, I got the messages on Twitter, okay?
You saved them 3 expenses that you paid. But,
it's true. Yeah. I did get those for free, so thank you. All right. Anything else?
There's heaps we could talk for hours, but I think that's probably enough for one little podcast.
That's a potty, yeah.
I want to get on and play some Blood Rage or something, maybe.
That's about 40 minutes. I'm happy to play something. I mean, I've got to ask the wife first.
Get it ticked off.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you guys enjoy this version of the podcast, let us know, because it's easier for us to do even after the coronavirus and all that sort of crap is healed and cured in the world. Let us know what you've been playing. Let us know if you want us to play anything on Tabletop Simulator while we are quarantined. But thank you very much for watching. Until next time, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.